everyone, it's me, Catherine, and today should ideally have been a September wrap-up. However, September, I had a lot of plans for September, and not a lot of things went as planned. The idea of September was it was supposed to be like a recharge month. I was just supposed to be like doing stuff that I hadn't had time to do and just sort of recharging. But basically, for the entire month, I was house sitting. For the first 2 weeks, I was technically cat sitting. For the first 2 weeks, cat sitting for my aunt while she was on holiday. And then after my aunt came home, I immediately went to my sister's to house sit for her while she went on holiday. And then I didn't get to come home when I wanted, because the problem is I don't drive, I can't drive. So I have to rely on other people when public transport won't do for me. And with the amount of shit I had, public transport was out of the question. So I had to go home when my sister was ready to bring me home. And since she visits this house to visit my mum on a Monday, they didn't get back till the Sunday. So she was like, is it cool if I drop you off home, if I take you home Monday, since I'm going anyway? And since they were really tired because they got back from their holiday, like, they didn't get into the house till 7:30 Sunday morning, so it was a long day for them. So I was like, yeah, you know what, it's fine. Don't worry about it. So the plans I had for Monday didn't happen. So here I am doing everything I should have done today. And I'm also needing to make sure I'm all ready and prepped for getting back to streaming tomorrow, Wednesday, which will be today when this video goes up. It's currently Tuesday as I'm filming this. This should have been filmed and edited yesterday. It is not. So, it's not been a bad month, it's just not been my month, and I'm very tired. I'm not as recovered as I was hoping to be. So we're just going to talk today about my favourite tropes, because I don't have the brain capacity for anything else, but I don't want to get in the habit of not filming, because I already have missed a video in September, which I sort of kind of planned to miss anyway, with me cat sitting and whatever. I thought one video a month would be fine. I really don't want to miss filming this one and getting this up. So today we're doing we're just going to talk about my favourite tropes. And I guess favourite romance tropes would be more accurate, because I've been consuming a lot of fan fiction, and all of my fan fiction is ship based, so it's all romantic. There's always some sort of romance in there. So these tropes are going to be romance, my favourite romance tropes, I guess. And if I accidentally start talking about my favourite AO3 tags, just don't say anything, okay? Don't say anything. That was not the opening I was intending to do for this video, but it is what it is. So without any further ado, let's go. So obviously, naturally, we're going to talk about favourite whatever to lovers trope. But the thing is, I like most of them. Honestly, as something to lovers, I probably will enjoy it. Like friends to lovers, I love friends to lovers, because there's nothing quite like being friends with someone, right? And then realising that you're in love. And there's just something so nice and so wholesome about that, friends to lovers. That is, I won't say it's one of my favourites, well, it is one of my favourites because it's in this list. I love friends to lovers. Childhood friends to lovers is the superior of the, friends to lovers, childhood friends to lovers, I will go for every time. I love childhood friends to lovers. I don't know what it is about it, just that you've been friends with someone, and they don't even necessarily have had to have been in love for that length of time. It's just they were friends, and they sort of make promises as little kids, and then as they grow up and just fall in love, and it's just really nice. That's also really wholesome. On the other hand, I also really enjoy enemies to lovers. And when I say enemies to lovers, I actually mean enemies to lovers. I have read so many where it said enemies to lovers, and basically all it is that one person is mean to the other person, and that's it. Not even there's any mutual hatred, no, they're not on opposite sides of a conflict or anything. It was just that guy is mean to that person, and that's their enemies. And that's not enemies to lovers. That is not enemies to lovers. That's somebody being mean and then improving, getting better, and being, a better person for that. I mean, I also really like that trope. Someone character development, that's great for character development, but it's not enemies to lovers. If you're gonna tell me that this is enemies to lovers, I want actual enemies to lovers. please. And I guess leading off from that, I also really like forbidden romances. And when I say forbidden romance, I mean like star-crossed love. Like, you know, like on opposite people on opposite sides. Maybe they're not enemies, like, but on opposite sides of a conflict. They're not in agreement with their party, so they're just sort of like on their own little, their one side. That's star-crossed lovers, isn't it? But that's sort of like forbidden romance. A royalty, a member of royalty, and their guard is also a bodyguard. Bodyguards. There's just something about that, and I get that there's a bit of a weird thing with like the power balance in that, potentially problematic. But bodyguard and the person they're guarding, the person that they've been hired to guard, that's also magic. But I guess with the royalty is like them falling for someone, maybe potentially falling for like a servant. Again, there's sort of like a weird power balance there, but like a servant or just like someone who's not like a commoner, peasant. I mean, these are all fantasy, but you can like put that into like a modern day. It still works with modern day, like someone who's like a bit, you know, a well-to-do person who falls in love with someone who's less well-to-do. I want to make it into like a sugar daddy, sugar mummy thing with their sugar baby. I mean, I'm okay with that as well, to be honest. Yeah, no, I'm cool with that too. But I've seen some people with their forbidden romances, and it's sort of like not the forbidden you're thinking of. It's like actually forbidden, like genuinely if this happened in the real world, it would be illegal. You know, like sibling relationships, parent-child relationships. It's like, that's not what I'm looking for. When I say forbidden, that's a different kind of forbidden. So you need to make it very... you need to just double check when someone says forbidden romance, what exactly it is you're getting yourself into. Other tropes I like are... I guess, I don't know if this is a trope, but this is definitely one of my favourite tags on AO3, and that's idiots in love. They're like oblivious idiots in love. Like so oblivious to each other, or one person's oblivious to the other's like flirting, pining, or both of them just being so oblivious and just driving everybody around them insane with their mutual pining, but they're the only two who don't realise that they're in love, like the other one's in love with them. That is also idiots in love. Like the oblivious, the mutual pining, especially coupled with like a fluff tag. This is turning into tags now. Especially coupled with fluff, like they are excellent for making me feel better on a bad day. And I'm not talking about like miscommunication or anything. I mean, they just oblivious. They take it as them being friendly. It's like, oh no, they're just being them. They're just being nice. They're just being friendly with me. It's like, bitch, no. No. They would literally die for you, and you're just like, no, they would do that for anyone. We're just friends. It's just friendly. Like, I'm in love with them, but they obviously aren't in love with me. And it's frustrating, but it's so fun when it's not coupled with like miscommunication or like misunderstandings, and there's like little to no angst. Like any angst is just super light, and the angst is usually surrounded around like their yearning. Like it's just them being a little bit in pain because they're so desperately in love with the other person, but they don't think they feel the same. Like if that's the angst, that's sort of fine as long as it's all resolved very nicely with no miscommunication and no misunderstandings, or like very quickly sorted out misunderstandings, miscommunication. Like if it's rectified, if it's resolved immediately, you know what's fine. I don't want it to be dragged out. But if I had to pick a favourite, if I had to pick one favourite though, like that I would, out of everything, one favourite trope that would guarantee, honestly, no, but enemies to lovers. But then it depends on the angst that comes with that enemies to lovers. It depends how this person, the writer has chose to interpret enemies to lovers, like what kind of enemies they're going to be. Because I can take certain angst, but there's other angst I just can't handle. So like childhood friends to lovers tends to come with like a lot of fluff, which I really like. But it can also come with a lot of misunderstandings and a lot of miscommunication. So if that happens, then it's no, I'm out. The same with enemies to lovers. But enemies to lovers has potential for a lot of angst that I enjoy if it's done. I was going to say if it's done right, but if it's done in a way that I like. Not if it's done right because it's different for everybody, but if it's done in a way that I enjoy enemies to lovers to be written, like with the sort of angst where they... Oh, you know what? I don't even... This was supposed to be a really short video. This was supposed to be short, and I'm going off on a tangent, so it's like I'm watching the timer go up, slowly ticking up to 20 minutes, and this should not be 20 minutes. This should have been like 10-minute video max, but no, I had to go off. So hopefully I can get it down to fucking 10 minutes. We'll see. So we're gonna cut that off there. But no, so favourite tropes are probably like romantic tropes. Again, this is favourite romance tropes, because that's mostly what I've been consuming. So yeah, like the childhood friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, they're definitely top 2. I also really enjoy idiots in love. I don't remember anything else I talked about in this video, I'm gonna be honest. Oh, forbidden romance, bodyguards, like that sort of thing. Forbidden romance is good. Stop, Catherine. Right, so that's it. No, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It is a mess. I'm a mess. I hope I can edit this to something coherent. We shall see. We shall see. But what's some of your favourite tropes, like favourite romance tropes? Let me know. Enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, childhood friends to lovers. Maybe, I know some people enjoy miscommunication and misunderstandings. If you're one of those people, let me know. What is it you enjoy about it? Is it the angst that comes with it? Is that the sort of angst that you enjoy? I can't hack it, but if you can handle that sort of angst, you're a different breed. You're built different. But no, so that is it. Thanks so much. I will have all my appropriate links linked in the description below. So my socials that I barely use, my Twitch is there. By the time this video goes up, I will be back streaming. So I stream Wednesdays, Fridays and Saturdays. And this month we're going to be playing Resident Evil HD Remaster, which I didn't realise I owned, but I do. So on Fridays we're going to be playing that, if you would like to come check that out. But apart from that, I think that's it. So thanks so much for watching. I'll hopefully see you next week for more Hollow Knight. But until then, take care. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I will. I can't say hopefully anymore because I will see you in another video soon. Bye!